All right, prop the mic. We're live. Here we go. Dave in New York, Tom in LA. It's feeling like summertime here in Los Angeles, so I'm excited to get out and walk the dogs, enjoy the weather a little bit. But first, we wanted to bring you guys a quick pod to discuss our favorite picks from today's massive 12-game NBA slate. As always, today's podcast is presented by Props.Cash. We 100% could not do what we do without Props.Cash. So if you think you're ready to level up your prop betting game, use code PTM at signup to get 25% off your first month. Dave's Chiefs are back in the Super Bowl for the fourth time in 5 years, despite my wagering on the Ravens. So you must be feeling pretty good about things this morning. How's it going, David?
Yeah, it doesn't lose its excitement. I'll tell you that. Even though they've been there quite a bit, it's still pretty exciting, especially when you go in doing it on the road and doing it against what was perceived as a team that was better than the Chiefs. And the beauty was, while all those games were going on, there was an exciting game script that we were excited about, but we were also cashing on builder tickets like crazy, and also did really well from our podcast picks. So. Another profitable week. I think we finished up close to 4 units yesterday, up 94 units on the season. So hopefully for the Super Bowl, we can knock out another 6 units and cross over that 100-unit mark for the season. What do you think?
That would be a nice accomplishment. I feel like we could do it, especially if we get some in early. I think we might have a nice early pod later in the week, right? For the
yeah, what we're gonna do for the Super Bowl is we don't want to miss out on the value. If you wait until like 3 days before the Super Bowl, the lines are going to be so sharp because there's so many bettors coming in on this. So the lines are out already. It's a little early. We recognize that. So what we'll do is we'll put out a pod on Thursday. We'll give you like an early view of some props, and then we'll revisit those the following week with the pod closer to the game and update on some more picks too. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to that. But right now we're talking hoops. We got a big NBA night. NBA took a backseat yesterday to football, but now NBA is back in full force. The next 2 weeks should be really exciting as we get into the halfway point of the season. You ready?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to be emceeing today, and Tom's going to be giving out the picks. So let's see how that works out. I think it's going to be good. I think so. All right, let's go with let's start with Washington and San Antonio. San Antonio is -3.5 at home. Total is 241.5. So another matchup of two fairly underperforming teams, but both have had a little, victory here and there of late. So let's start with your favorite player prop from that game. What do you like?
All right, let's fire up that Props.Cash screen and look at our boy Devin Vassell assists. 4.5.
He was your guy. He was your guy last season.
Last season, big time,
right?
Yeah,
big time, like always. And you've kind of forgotten about him a little bit. So I'm glad to see you going back. So
yes,
what do you like? 4.5
my guy. Yeah, I like the assist plus money plus 122. I know those always scare you a little bit, but look at that. Over in 5 of his last 6. He's got a matchup against Washington, who's allowing the most assists per minute to wings over the last month. He had 5 against Washington when they played 9 days ago. If you look at some comps, Jordan Clarkson, 8, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 5. Then you had Vassell at 5, Bruce Brown, 6, Jalen Williams, 10, Karis LeVert, 11 and 5. Even Cade Cunningham, who he plays point guard, but he's also especially with at cleaning the glass, he is classified as a wing player. He had 12 assists. Obviously, he's more of a playmaker than Vassell is, but Vassell definitely gets involved. So love this, love the plus money at over 4.5 assists. Any thoughts? Concerns?
Yeah, I like that. I do wonder if some of that uptick in assists correlates with Wemby's increase in minutes, right? Wemby's up at the 28, 29, 30 minutes. I think he's cleared to play 30 minutes now. So I think that could be part of the reason. I'm just looking at his minutes overall in let's just look at his last 10 games. Yeah, I mean, he was playing like low, 25, then 30. Now the last 5 games, they've been in kind of like the 33 plus range. Yeah. And I think, that what what's the risk here is if this is not a competitive game, but this is a 3.5-point game, two bottom tier teams.
241 points, right?
Yeah, 241.5 points. This seems like a really good opportunity. It seems like really good value at plus money. So love that one. I'm writing it down, locking it in right after the show.
All right, then I got one, and maybe we can maybe put these two together in a minute. But I also like Trey Jones here. He was popping out in our model scoring wise. His line's 11.5. So you see, he gets to 12. Has it gone up?
Yeah, I must have just gone up because I was looking at this.
No, Trey Jones. Oh, not
sorry. I'm like
the other Jones brother.
The brotherly love. All right, 11.5. Yeah, we still get Ellen plus money there too.
Yeah. So I like the 11.5 is nice. His minutes are up. So on the season, he's playing 25. He's played 28 over his last. He's averaging 28 over his last 15, 30 minutes per game over his last 5. So also seems like he's, maybe the rotations kind of solidifying here a bit in San Antonio with Jones at point, Vassell is a wing, and Wemby's playing those extra minutes. So I like that. Washington's allowed the third most points per minute to point guards over the last month. So he gets a nice matchup here. So I think that's a good play. Now, if you want to, I didn't run any numbers on this, but there's got to be a little bit of a correlation between Vassell assists and Trey Jones points, right? A little bit. So if we bring Trey Jones down to 10, I might even like it better at 9, but 10 points for Trey Jones, 4 assists. So we'll take that plus money. We'll bring it down to 4 assists. You put those two together, you get, so it's 10 points, Trey Jones, 4 assists, Devin Vassell, plus 124 on FanDuel, plus 114 on DK. So I think that's nice in a high scoring game. I think that's a nice little parlay SGP you could put together.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I actually think that's actually better than playing those other plays, because I think those other plays are very close to getting hooked, right? They hit right around this 11 or 12. Vassell hits right around this 5. So I think giving yourself a little cushion and still getting a plus money, plus 124 is really nice, and they're highly correlated, right? So I love that play. That's very good. All right. Nice, good find. All right. Anything else in this game? Nothing on the Washington side? No Kyle Kuzma plays for you today?
No, he's back on the banned list.
Back. He came off and dominated. He had those 5 assists the other day when we had Joe on.
He did.
John Collins also in the most disgusting parlay ever. But all right, we'll pass on him. Let's go to Utah and Brooklyn. Brooklyn's at home getting 1.5 points. Total is 235.5. So you found another nice spot here. What do you like in this one?
All right, so we'll start. All my plays are on the Brooklyn side, actually. Just nice matchups against Utah over the last month here. So we'll look the forwards against Utah, specifically with assists, have been dominating. So Cam Johnson, nice low line, 2.5 assists. He's cleared this in 6 of his last 10, 4 of his last 5, averaging 4.2 assists per game over his last 5 games. So I love that recent trend there.
Wow.
And then look at these forwards. This is just not even in the last month. Well, we're almost in. So basically, since January 1st, we have Miles Bridges 6, Denny Avdia 5, Herb Jones 5, Jae'Sean Tate 3, Aaron Wiggins 5, Josh Giddey 6, Scotty Barnes 3, Bojan Bogdanovic 3. So a lot of good comps in there for Cam Johnson. So I like his. Look at all that! Look at that green
board
there. Look at
that. That's nothing but green there since January 23rd. And even if we look at the power forward position too, right? That's mostly green there too. You got even guys who aren't really power forwards misclassified. Zion with 11. Yeah, I think that's a great play. I'm looking at his minutes. I think he got, if I recall, injured in that Knicks game too. He fell pretty hard on a play. So I think that was the only game that he missed in the last 5. So he could have been off a little bit because of that. So that might be pulling the line down. This one seems like it should be 3.5. I like this one a lot.
All right, getting the stamps of approval today. All right, let's move over to his the guy he came over from Phoenix with, Mikal Bridges. So I like his assist as well. You also have a tremendous matchup. So Bridges is a wing, according to Cleaning the Glass. That's where we look at his stats. Over 3.5 assists, plus 126 on FanDuel. He's done this in 5 of his last 7, averaging 4.1. He had 5 assists against Utah back when they played on December 18th. And Utah has allowed the second most assists per minute to wings over the last month, if I didn't say that already. So go, let's look at his last 10 games. Let's just pull up his last 10 there.
All right.
So 3, you see, 3 is a nice number for him. So I'm just setting this up. I'm going to give you one more play from this game, and then we're going to work up a nice little SGP that I put together off these plays. So 3 assists is minus 210 on FanDuel. So I think it's a really, really nice leg for an SGP or one of the builders there. So let's go to my next play, and then we'll bundle these all up. Nick Claxton, you have some. I
was just going to say Mikal Bridges is 3 assists is a very common prop in our alt cheat sheet. It's there almost every game. So I think that certainly is exciting. I'm waiting to hear what you're putting together here. So let's go to Claxton. Let's see what he's got.
All right. Claxton over 13.5 points, minus 108 on FanDuel. He's done this in 3 of his last 5, averaging 14.5. 5 of his last 10, averaging 14.5. Utah has allowed the 5th most points per minute to bigs over the last month. PJ Washington just had 43 in the same game that Nick Richards had 26. Marvin Bagley, 14. Daniel Gafford, 13. Joe Val, 17. Same game that Larry Nance had 12. Christian Wood, 15. That's just over the last 3 weeks or so. So
I think Gafford's like a great. If Gafford could put up 13, Claxton can get there too. I like that.
Can get there too. Yeah.
And look at the power forward position too, right? Which, it's debatable. Claxton's not really a true center, but you got guys like Kuzma, more of an outside shooter.
Yeah.
Marvin Bagley's a really good comp, I think, for Claxton, right? 14 points. I think you mentioned that.
Look at Larry Nance on the line of 6.5. He put up 12.
Yeah, Larry Nance. Yeah. So very nice. Okay, good.
All right. So let's bundle those 3 up and make a little
bundle
builder.
This is Tom's insurance policy, the bundler. Let's hear
bundler. So let's put Claxton at 10 points. He's done that in 74% of games this season.
Okay.
That feels comfortable. Let's put Bridges, like you mentioned, at 3 assists. He's done that in 76% of games this season, 83% at home. And then we'll tick Cam Johnson down to 2 assists, which he's done in 75% of games this season, also 83% at home, plus 118 on DraftKings.
I like that a lot. That's good. This is a nice way to play it too, because you can spread your units across the straight lines and also the builders. Like you can kind of hedge your bet a little bit, especially if you're worried about any blowouts. But again, first game was 3.5 points. This game's 1.5 points. Both totals 235.5. This should be a lot of scoring. Should be relatively tight games. Great spots. I love those. Okay. Anything else in this one?
That's it.
No Lowry Markkanen. All right. Let's go.
Dave, maybe you could. We're just getting a comment to zoom out a little bit. They can't see the player's name on the live Twitter feed or the live X feed.
Okay, let's. How's that?
I'll let you know in 1 sec. It should be good though. So let's move. Yeah.
Hold on. I'll just show the full screen. That should be better. All right, let's try that. Let us know if you can't see it. All right, let's move on. We got the Pelicans at the Celtics. Celtics are minus 9.5 at home. Total in this one's 236.5. What do you like in this one?
So I just had one play, Mr. Jonas Valanciunas, over 8.5 rebounds, minus 125 on DK. Nice recent trend, over in 7 of his last 10, averaging 9.5. over in 4 of his last 5, averaging 9.8. Nice matchup against Boston. They've allowed the 7th most rebounds per minute to bigs over the last month, including big games to Bobby Portis, who had 12, Naz Reid, 10, Cat with 13 rebounds, Aaron Gordon, 10, Derek Lively, 8. They just played the Clippers, and Tice and Plumlee each had 7 rebounds in that game, combined for 14. I think this is a nice spot for Joe Val. What do you think?
Yeah, the only caution, we played Joe Val's points the other night, and I know this is rebounds, but we played his points the other night, and what I noticed was that he is now not starting the second half in certain games. So I just caution that if you're like gonna bet this, just know that there's a good chance that he'll get, 4 or 5 rebounds in the first half, hopefully 6. And then if coming out of the halftime, he doesn't start and they start Larry Nance, that is a common thing that they're doing. So that to me is a little risky, because if it does end up being a blowout, just say they're down 20, 30 points towards the end of
put him in the second.
They may not put him in. So the only other question I would say is if Larry Nance's rebounds are available, that might be a different way to pivot on this one. Did you see if he had any props available?
Don't recall, but I'll take a look right here. Oh yeah, he is.
So he's perfectly priced at 5.5 when he is putting up 5. But if you look at his minutes of late, if I'm correct, there's the minutes right here. Yeah, I mean, still he's only playing 17, 18 minutes. 21 was the game I was referring to. Oh no, it was actually that game, the Milwaukee game, 18 minutes. So I don't know. I think it's a good play. I think you're better to play the starter. I think you're better to play the better rebounder. But I would just caution that that's something that's going on in New Orleans. And if you can read a little bit more up about that and find out why that's happening, that might give you more comfort.
That's a good heads up. Very nice.
I hope they're not trying to phase Joe Val out, man. He's like a staple here at PTN.
Yeah.
So. All right. But I think there's also maybe an opportunity if you're going down the parlay route, you could potentially bring Joe Val's rebounds down and Nance's rebounds down and maybe put the two of them together if it's a really good matchup for centers. So, okay. Anything else in this one?
No, Jaylen Brown assists were the other one that was popping out in our model, but I've been burned on that too many times, and just gonna stay away from Jaylen Brown trying to be a playmaker.
Yeah, that's probably a good move. Why is this game? Why is the spread so big in this game? Boston minus 9.5. I just looked. Everybody's playing. I mean, if anything, the Celtics have more questionable players than the Pelicans do. Am I missing something?
I think they haven't lost a game at home this season. They've just been dominant, and right. I don't know.
No, they lost 1. Right? Didn't they lose to the Nuggets the other day?
That's right. You're right.
They lost 1, but I think at least 1. But your point is taken. They're definitely a better team than the Pelicans. The Pelicans are they're all over the place. They win games, they by a lot, they lose games by a lot. So I guess you're playing the more consistent team. All right, cool. Let's go to Milwaukee, Denver. That's also a really great game. That's on for tonight. What do you like in that one?
So also just had one pick from this game. I like Giannis's rebounds, over 11.5 rebounds. Got it at minus 113 on FanDuel. Nice matchup against Denver. They've allowed the 6th most rebounds per minute to forwards over the last month. Giannis has cleared this in 3 of his last 4, averaging 14.5. 6 of his last 10 on the road, averaging 13 rebounds per game over his last 10 road games. When the Sixers just played them, Embiid did not play, but Paul Reed was able to manage 13 rebounds against Denver. Precious just had 10. Aaron Naismith and Pascal Siakam in the same game had 9 and 10 rebounds apiece. The two of them combined for 19 rebounds. Denny just had an 8-rebound game. Larry Markkinen, 12 rebounds. Miles Bridges, 9 rebounds. So I think this is a nice spot. Giannis is going to be fired up for this game. I love it.
Yeah, even Al Horford, 10. Jericho Sims in that same game as Precious had 8. So, I think that's good. Giannis is tricky though. He's like sometimes he looks like he wants to rebound, and sometimes he looks like he just wants to hang back, right? Like it's very tricky with him. But this does seem, you got the MVP thing going on, although seems to be sliding out of the conversation more and more every year. But I'm sure he's got a little bit of animosity towards Jokic for kind of dethroning him back in the day. So yeah, I could see him getting after the boards. I like that one.
That's all I had from this game.
All right, good. Let's go with the Lakers at Houston. Houston's getting 1.5 points at home. What do you like in that one?
I like LeBron rebounds. Do you have any take? How do you feel about LeBron rebounds lately?
I've been more into LeBron assists this year, but
yeah.
But it does look like did he really have 20 rebounds against against Golden State? I didn't even realize that the other day. Holy moly.
So Houston has allowed the 4th most rebounds per minute to forwards over the last month. You know who's allowed the 3rd most? Golden State. LeBron just played Golden State Saturday night, had those 20 rebounds you're pointing to right there. 15 of those rebounds came in the non-OT minutes. So he had 15 rebounds in 37 minutes you're talking about the number 3 and number 4 matchups at this position over the last month. So the great comps. He's cleared this in 78% of road games going back all the way to last season. And that includes 7 of his last 9 this season. So he's been getting the boards on the road. I think the 6.5 feels good. At 7.5, I don't love it as much. But it's priced. It's minus 135 at 6.5. But I love that performance the other night against Golden State, and you get a nice comparable matchup here.
Yeah, I think he so I do love the comps, guys like even Dorian Finney-Smith, who's like not nearly the rebounder that LeBron is, putting up 7. A lot of guys putting up 6 or 7. So 7 seems good. 5 looks great. If you wanted to alt it down and play it with something else, you could do 5 rebounds, maybe a couple assists or something like that. LeBron is very similar to Giannis in that sense. He's a great rebounder, but only if he chooses to rebound, right? So I think it's about, is this going to be a competitive game? Is this an important game for the Lakers to win? I think at this point, every game is becoming more and more important for the Lakers to win. And this is a winnable game for them, right? They're favored on the road. So I could see LeBron, with the rest yesterday, probably sat back, enjoyed some football, and now he's ready to grab some boards in Houston. I like that one.
Sounds good.
All right, let's go to the game of the night. Knicks at the Hornets. Hornets are getting 9.5 at home. Total is 221.5. So the big news for the Knicks is Julius Randle. I think he dislocated his shoulder. I think that's what the injury was. So he's out. Mitch Robinson is now out, so that front court is pretty depleted. So you could see a much bigger role for OG in this game. You got Hartenstein back at least, so that's solidifying the center spot. And then Josh Hart is I think the new entry into the starting lineup. So with all that said, they're still a better team than this depleted Hornets team. But what do you like player prop wise?
So I like LaMelo here, and I like his assists. So over 7.5 assists. It's minus 146, which isn't the best, but maybe you can, find something else to put it with. But I like it straight here. He's went over in 3 of his last 4. He had 9 against the Knicks at home in Charlotte back in November. But here's what I like. So over the last month, when you look at point guards against the Knicks have allowed the fewest points in the entire league to point guards over the last month, but at the same time they've allowed the 2nd most assists to point guards over the last month. So they're going to look to shut LaMelo Ball down. I mean, he's the biggest scoring threat on that team, right? And what's he going to have to do? He's going to have to pass out of double teams. He's going to have to pass out of good OG defense, whoever defense he's getting, who's been shutting down these point guards, passing out, and hopefully he's got some PJ Washington or Nick Richards or whoever can knock him down.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And to just update on something you said at the beginning, It's actually minus 122 on FanDuel now for 7.5 assists. So
there we go. Very nice.
So we're back into a respectable area. He was popping on the alt props cheat sheet this morning for 6 assists. I believe it was. And at home, you can see his ability to hit 6 assists at home is almost a guarantee. Although I hate to use those words. But 8 assists is pretty solid too. I mean, look at those hit rates. So 5 straight at home, even with Terry out of the lineup. So I think this is a good one. As long as the Hornets stay competitive enough, they're going to lose this game most likely. But the Knicks could come out being a little out of sorts without Randall
without Julius.
So I think that's possible. So I like this play. This is a good sneaky one. Really good value. I think at minus 122.
Yeah, love that. That came down to 122. That's beautiful. Not a ton of comments today. Black Bleach saying at least Giannis won't duck Joker like Embiid does. Agreed. That was pretty weak again on Embiid's part.
That's being investigated by the league right now. I read this morning.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they only put him on the injury report like 15 minutes before the game. So
he was out there warming up apparently, right?
Yeah. I think I don't know what happened. I think they just realized they weren't going to win that game. But actually, to be honest with you, that game ended up being a lot of fun. The bench, almost beat the Nuggets. So that was a good one.
We just got one. You have time for one. We got one comment on YouTube here from Inez asking about CJ threes today. Take a look at CJ threes.
So I will say as a general statement before we look at CJ, Tom and I don't really love playing 3-pointers very much because there's a ton of variability. So we tend to, if we do find a guy in a good 3-point spot, we tend to lean more towards the points, but you can still find a good spot. So 2.5 threes does look like, where are they? They're away, showing home right now. So it does look like he has pretty good hit rates on the season away, 71%, only 2 of his last 4 games. Was he in the game against Boston? So last time he played in Boston, he had 6 threes. So that's probably part of the reason why this is popping. And then the game before that against Boston last season as well, he had 4 threes. So good history against Boston, but a very different Boston team than last.
I will
season.
say I'm pulling up our model here. Over the last month, Boston has allowed the 4th fewest 3-point attempts to opposing point guards. So not great there. They've allowed the 2nd fewest made threes to opposing point guards, and it's not much better against your combo guards either. So the Boston defense can be a little stingy. So I'd probably stay off here.
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, you got a guy like Dame who's much bigger portion of his game is shooting threes, put up 3 threes. Luka only had 2. Kyrie did have 3. Jamal Murray had 3. So what I'm thinking is if he does get there, it's going to be really close. Like you're probably not looking at a repeat of this 6 3-point game, but I'll eat my words if that happens. But I personally would lay off of this one just because it does seem like it's not a great matchup, even though there's a good history. And CJ's recency seems to be trailing off, and also 9.5 point spread, right? So it's possible that CJ doesn't even play the 4th if this one turns out to be a blowout. So we'll lay off for this one.
Inez just sent over one more. Let's look at it real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Paul George rebounds and assists, and I see a nice, pretty green chart here when we pull that one up. 6.5 rebounds and assists, minus 125. Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was just saying against Cleveland. He's playing Cleveland tonight in Cleveland. Looks like he had 8 RA last time they played. That's crazy. That's a really high hit rate, right? 83% hit rate. Is that what it says? 36 out of 42. Yeah. And let's see how he does on the road. Not quite as good on the road, but I'll take a 75% hit rate any day. It looks pretty good. I'm just wondering why this is not priced. This feels like it should be priced at 7.5. So I just want to make sure I understand all the information, that there's not like a issue in the lineup. Looks like Zubac is still out, which he's been out for a while. Kawhi, Plumlee, Mann, Harden, they're all playing. So, and then on the Cleveland side, yeah, it looks like the normal lineup that's been out there. It looks like Mobley might be back tonight. Garland's still out. I don't know. What do you think, Tom? You like this one?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, unless I'd want to dig into a little bit more, but it looks pretty good. I don't know, I know Cleveland's defense has been pretty legit, over the last month or so with the absence of Garland and Mobley. They've kind of got their defense in a good place. But how that really, that might impact his scoring, but assists and rebounds, I don't see it impacting that as much. So this feels low to me. Can we put up the trend on the line movement?
Oh yeah, really good idea. So if you go, just to educate everybody here, if you just look at Paul George's prop, right, we can see the 83% hit rate, but we can actually on props like cash hit the actual line, and that shows the movement of this line. So earlier in the season, this was up at looks like it was hovering
10
around
and a half,
10.5, 9.5 here.
Yeah.
Really peaked up here. You can see he went under for a bunch of these games, and that's why the line started moving down, aggressively moved down, kind of like at the start of the year, and then it's been down there, and now we get another dip. So this is looks like the first or second game this season where it's actually been as low as 6.5. So you are catching value. Maybe a really good opportunity to take advantage.
I like it.
Good find. Excellent. Make sure you're using that actual line feature. It's a really good way to just understand value, at this point versus past parts of the season. So good stuff. I love that. I just have one other comment. Tom, your Ethernet connection was your connection today was fantastic. For those of you who follow us, know that Tom's been dealing with some choppy connection of late. So he's got a 30-foot Ethernet cord running through his house. 50-foot Ethernet cord running through his house just so that he can deliver Prop the Mic in high quality. So well done, man. It seems to have worked.
I'm just waiting for that day that one of the dogs rips it out, midway through a pod, and we'll see how we recover from that one. But so far, so good.
All right. Good stuff.
Nice. Good pod today. Love a bunch of these picks. Get a couple up on X. Everyone enjoy the games. Thank you for your comments and questions, and let's all make some money.